Most people, I think, maybe have heard stories about people going to another country for treatment. It's almost become this sort of global shopping thing. And a very famous example that has been in the news was Jordan Peterson, who was severely ill and went to clinics in various countries. So you seem to be having a clinic that's offering people from different countries solutions that they're eagerly shopping around for. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, that's interesting. And we have a lot of experience in that here in Brazil because here the healthcare system is free. Okay, so if you come to Rio, for example, for a trip and anything happens, you'll be treated for free. And so there's a lot of people that come to Brazil for free treatment. And our healthcare system is amazing. Our doctors are awesome. And I'm very proud of having studied here. And we embrace them all. Now, I believe that it was kind of an accident. I mean, why I treat people from all over the world, because I was in Salt Lake City at the University of Utah. There are people from all over the world, and I started treating them there. And then I came back to Brazil and I was like, oh my God, how can I keep treating those people? And we had Skype.
Mhm.
And then I went to Kuwait. I made friends. I treated people there. And they were like, Bianca, you're going back to Brazil. How do we do this? And then I kept on treating them. I still have patients from that time, 2006.
Mhm.
And then with the pandemic, that got even bigger because even my neighbors, I had to treat them online. And because I speak 6 languages, I can reach out to more people. My website is on 5 languages today. And yeah, it's amazing to know different people with different cultures and beliefs.
So what is it? What is the treatment that you're offering?
We had a talk the other day, and I thought that you asked me a very interesting question when you said, okay, so how is it in Brazil that you can be a psychiatric nurse and an acupuncture doctor and an herbalist and a behavior analyst? How does it work? So as I told you, here in Brazil, as long as you are certified in what you do, you can offer it all at the same space.
So
Okay.
as
And
long as you're certified in each one, you mean, or in one of them?
in each one of them. Okay. So for example, all my certifications, when it comes to ABA and Chinese herbs and Chinese medicine, they're separate certifications.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we have the same.
Yeah. So then it's okay. But you see, it's very interesting because I started with Chinese medicine. And along the way, I found that I needed more. I needed to offer more to my patients because they would come with lab results. And how was I supposed to deal with that? And so, as the needs show up, my patients' needs showed up. I had to go after information. So I'm telling you, I never chose anything. It's a matter of survival, I guess.
Mhm. Okay, good. So tell us about your experience with ABA, applied behavior analysis.
Yeah, that's another accident because um, you see, my son was 2 years old when the pandemic started. And we were here, just me and him and my daughter. And he was brilliant. He could write over the alphabet of over 12 languages. And I was like, oh my God, he's a genius. And he was okay with me and with her. So, and after the pandemic, when he went back to school, people said, Bianca, there's something wrong with him. And I was like, what's wrong with him? He doesn't play with other kids and he flaps his hands and And I was like, really? And then I found out he has autism.
Mm.
And I don't know what it is like in the United States, but here an ABA session costs between 250 and 350 reais.
Wow.
Yeah, that would be between 50 and $60.
Okay.
And the doctor said, Mom, he needs 40 hours a week.
Wow.
Okay. And who's paying for that?
Mm.
And healthcare plans don't cover this kind of treatment.
Mhm, mhm.
Okay. So I was like, okay, I just can't afford it. So I ran into Google and found
Mm.
courses and started studying and applying it. So today I'm getting my international certification on ABA. I
Oh,
love it. I have few autistic patients, few children, but I've been using ABA with adults.
that's what I'm interested in. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yes. And this is beautiful because when you Google ABA nowadays, it's all about autism. Okay. They focus on autism, but it goes so much further if you think about it, because it's all behavior. And that's why I told you that the inner mammal was the piece of the puzzle that was missing. Because ABA, I don't know if you've read Skinner, it's very difficult. I mean, his language, we call it behaviorish. Can you speak behaviorish? Because it's very difficult. And the inner mammal language talks exactly about the same thing with an everyday language. I have, Loretta, patients who are 90, 95, 98 years old. They're immigrants from Okinawa. They don't speak Portuguese. They have little education. And the inner mammal language vocabulary has helped me with applied behavior analysis.
That's great to hear. Yeah, I know what you mean about Skinner. It's very hard to make sense of his language, and I feel like it's sort of defensive and purposely indirect. But to make it even worse, I bought his autobiography. It's 2 thick volumes. And he says almost nothing personal in these 2 thick volumes about his own life. So he even uses that impenetrable language when talking about his own life. It's very funny.
Exactly. So I think that was something of his, that was his behavior. And I love your behavior because when I took the inner mammal course, I caught myself laughing out loud by myself, and people were like, "What are you saying?" Oh, I'm learning about neurochemicals. And why are you laughing? And I said, because she's awesome.
Oh,
And it because ABA can be too serious for people that don't actually know it.
so
And
can
it's
you
not.
please give people a specific example because people don't know? So give us an example of how it might work with an autistic child, and then an example of how it might work with a normal adult.
Okay, so my son wouldn't say good morning. Okay, he counts to 1 million in over 15 languages, but he wouldn't say good morning. He wouldn't give me a hug. He wouldn't listen to the teacher. He wouldn't play with other kids. And when you break down, and this is wonderful because it has to do with when you talk about dopamine, like you shouldn't have big goals. You should break big goals into tiny little goals that you can approach every day. And that's ABA. So he'll say good morning. No, it's not like expecting him to say good morning, but teach him how to say good. And then teach him how to say morning. And then put those words together. And then you model. Every day you model, you practice. And sometimes they need physical help. You have to hold their faces. Good morning. Say good morning. And
So it's
then
not that he's refusing to say those words, but he doesn't say other words either.
um, in his case, because autism is a spectrum,
Spectrum.
it's very difficult to say something that
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
It is true for everyone. But in his case, for example, he would talk to you about math. But if you say, hello, how are you? It's like they don't grab these things. They don't understand they're supposed to do that.
Okay.
So you have
Then
to
when you
teach.
tell him, he sort of refuses. So he's sort of oppositional.
It's funny because I wouldn't say it's oppositional. I would say it's not important. Okay. So it's like things that are so important to us. For example, social reward. Most of them don't care. So if you think about it, Loretta, and use the inner mammal approach to it, it is as if serotonin wasn't as important, nor oxytocin, as dopamine.
Huh.
Because it's all about their own needs, what I want to do. I don't care if you like me, I don't care if you hug me, and they're happy.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah. So did this work? What did you use rewards at all, and did it work?
Yes, we start with tangibles. It's very important to start with a toy they want. He loves pencils and paper and food when they're hungry, because people think that it's like circus training. You know, they do something cute, you give them a cookie. No, it's not how it works. So we start with tangibles, and then we teach them the value of social rewarding, something that they don't have. So suddenly the reward is a congratulations, give me a high five. And you're modeling and you're teaching them to be happy about these rewards. So it's deep. We have to work a lot, for example, to break a behavior into tiny little steps, and sometimes work with a tiny little step for weeks, Loretta. But it pays off.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So what would be an example of using it with an adult?
The first patient I used it with was a patient who, her husband is very jealous, absolutely jealous. And they go to a lot of events. And most of the time, if she looked around, turned her head to a side, he would start yelling at her in front of everybody, telling her she was a slut, she was looking at somebody she shouldn't. And then they would leave the party with the 4 kids, go home, and have a whole week at war.
Oh, gosh.
Exactly. So it's like this. The first thing we work with is latency. She looked at somebody, he started yelling, she started yelling back. So we break the behavior into parts. So she looks to the side, he starts yelling, don't yell back. And we start with 1 deep breath, I told her, before you start yelling. Let's see what happens. And then 2 deep breaths, and then not yelling at all. And then not giving him attention, because when we talk about the reasons for behavior in ABA, we talk about 4 reasons for any behavior. You either want a tangible, or escape, or attention, or sensorial reward. If we break, we can, when I see it through the eyes of the inner mammal, I can break it into 2 groups. Escape and sensorial, I want to avoid cortisol. And tangible and attention, I'm looking for serotonin, dopamine, and oxytocin.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how it works, and it does work. And you know what? After 3 or 4 times, they never ever fought again.
Wow.
Because he had attention. So when he started yelling, she would hug him, kiss him, give him attention. It's over.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.